Gramet, selamat siang. Apa kabar? Semoga kalian semua sehat-sehat dan baik-baik saja di rumah. Kali ini bersama saya, Weda Stratesti, kita akan memulai sesi yang istimewa. Terutama, selamat datang dulu untuk para Gramets di Inspiration Room Online Festival dalam rangka ulang tahun Gramedia ke-52 dengan tagline tagar kolaborasi tanpa batas. Oke, siang ini kita akan launching buku yang sudah sangat terkenal di Indonesia dan juga di beberapa negara lainnya berjudul Secrets of Divine Love, karangan A. Helwa yang sudah menempati posisi internasional bestseller. Lalu juga ada hadir pengarangnya bersama kita siang ini untuk kita berbincang-bincang, dan teman-teman yang di rumah, para Gramets, boleh join sesi kita siang ini dengan kolom live chat. Silahkan teman-teman bertanya apa saja yang kalian sudah rasakan atau pengalaman dari membaca buku ini. Atau hal-hal lain yang ingin teman-teman ketahui menyangkut buku Secrets Divine of Love. Oke, sebelum kita mulai, saya akan membacakan secara singkat profil dari A. Helwa. Oh ya Gramets, sesi kita siang ini adalah dengan bahasa campuran Indonesia dan Inggris. Tapi jangan khawatir apabila Gramets bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia, nanti saya akan bantu terjemahkan untuk Kak Helwa. Oke. Profil A. Helwa. A. Helwa believes that every single person on earth is deeply loved by divine. She is a writer who has inspired hundreds of thousands of readers through her passionate, poetic, and love-based approach of spirituality. Her popular blog at Quran Quotes Daily was established while obtaining her master's in divinity, as a means of helping others overcome personal and spiritual struggles on their journey of experience divine love. When A. Helwa is not reading at coffee shop, she can be found climbing mountains, camping in the deserts, hiking through jungles, or reading about black holes. Learn more about her work and how to approach of divine true love at www.secretsofdivinelove.com. Okay, Gramet. Please joining us welcoming Miss Helwa. Okay. Hello, Miss Helwa. Good afternoon.
Assalamualaikum. Hello. How are you?
Waalaikumsalam. I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Good. Feeling really grateful. Thank you so much for your beautiful sharing, and some of it I understood, but some of it I didn't, but it was beautiful.
Okay, thank you so much also for joining us today in this session. We are very excited to meet you, also our audience in their homes, also very, very happy to welcome you. And today we will launch your book, the book that the Indonesian version that has just published this month, and will be joining us in this end of the session, the editor, to launch the book. But now we will start our talk session. Okay, Ms. Helwa.
Wonderful.
Okay, for the first questions, will coming from me, and then the session will be followed by the Q&A session. The audience can ask you directly through the live chat. So, Gramets, if you want to joining the session, you can write your question in the live chat column. Okay. And Miss Helwa, today is a special event actually. it's our anniversary of 52 years, Gramedia anniversary. Gramedia is online, also offline bookstores, also loved by so many readers in Indonesia. So we welcome you in this special event. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you and congratulations.
Yes, and the theme for this anniversary is limitless. So we try to connect with your book about this limitless time. We would like to ask the love definition, limitless love definition by you. How Ahelwa explain this concept of God's love to through this book to us, all the readers. Can you also share with us your experience in experiencing the God's love?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. That's a beautiful question. And what I'll say is that the divine love can't be put into words because the qualities of God are beyond language. And part of this is that God is one, Allah is one, and so all language comes from duality, or words are separate from each other. So there's many words, but God is one. And so there's always this sort of interesting moment where you realize that you can't really explain that entity that is beyond language itself, but it's something that we experience. Just like I can't put into words what a rose smells like to you, but if you smelled it, you would know, because you would smell it and say, well, it smells like a rose. But unless I've smelled flowers before, I couldn't really experience it. Nonetheless, one of the deepest teachings that I learned and continue to learn about divine love is that it's everywhere and present in everything. That God is not a human being, that God is not in us, but rather his presence, or that divine fragrance of love, emanates and reflects off of everything. Like the moon does not have its own light, but reflects the light of the sun. Existence is sort of a mirror that reflects divine love in every moment. And the experience of that love to me is actually experienced, ironically enough for me, was accessed when through emptiness, through not having, through feeling my own poverty as a finite existence. Another way of saying that is the value of a bowl is actually in that the clay is carved out of it, that it's receptive, that it can receive. And so divine love pours into everything as long as there's space open for you. And the Quran explains this when it says the valleys essentially receive rain to their capacities, that this rain of revelation and love continues endlessly and infinitely, but we can receive only what we come to it. One way of saying that is, if you go to the ocean with a spoon, you can leave with a spoonful. If you go with a cup, you can leave with a cupful. If you break the pitcher and you dive in, it's a different reality. And so here the calling is that we would step into divine love and allow it to change us, like the sun changes everything that it touches.
So beautiful and very touching. And okay, thank you so much for the answer. And as we know from your book that you are looking for the answer by doing a lot of things. You are going everywhere, like you visit the mosque, the monastery, and learning some spiritual experience with the Buddha monk, also learning Taoism and Kabbalah. And can you please share with us how you experience all those journey and then become these beautiful books?
Mm. Thank you for that question. One of the things that I've recently been thinking and wrote just a small post about that, the pen is one, but the words are many, and that the sun is one, but the colors are many, and the breath is one, but the creatures are many, that the light is one, right? But there's this manifestation of all these colors that comes from this one light, that infamous image of a light hitting that, triangular prism, and you see the rainbow. And so every color we see, that color returns to one light. That red doesn't belong to red and blue doesn't belong to blue. It belongs to the one light. And so the different streams of human consciousness and understanding the different paths, it's all a reaching for one truth. And so in experiencing, and the paths are different. I'm not saying every path is the same, but if you really study each of them, you see that there's this longing for a kernel of truth. It's through all that difference and all that multiplicity, it's reaching back for something that's essential. The Islamic tradition says, that it refers to the messengers of the past, and it says that they're all one. It's referring to these God-sent messengers as all one because it's like different colors of the rainbow. It all is calling back to this one light. And so although these different traditions can be very different from each other, and I'm not here to say which one is, they just each have something very special. And so staying in a monastery, and recently Thich Nhat Hanh, a Zen Buddhist master, passed away, and I actually stayed at his monastery for a period of time and learned what it felt like to meditate, meaning empty the mind. And I learned from Islamic practices how to activate the heart. And I learned like mystical things from Kabbalah and Taoism, and in a sense, open to learning and also knowing my tradition, and seeing how that diversity, there's a verse in the Quran, 49:13, it talks about, that we're here to experience the diversity of our different colors and tribes, to get to know one another. And that knowledge of seeking each other out is actually a gift because it allows us to experience the creativity of God and how he chose to create this existence that we've been blessed to live within. And so that's what made me travel to Palestine, Morocco and Iraq and Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, by the way, is one of my favorite countries in everywhere I've ever been. It's what made me interested in learning and sitting and not just going to beautiful places, of course, Bali and Jakarta, but praying and Sidoarjo and seeing different people from different places and experiencing the beauty of the different cultures. It actually is an act of worship, because it's called, Allah tells us, and actually in the Quran it says, travel the world and see my signs inside and on the horizon. So yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. Yes, as we know, travel will give us a lot of experience and a lot of thoughts. So, yeah, it's a very, very uplifting experience. Thank you so much. And before I have more question, I would like to ask some audience. If you want to ask, you can join us in the live chat column. So just write your question, and then I will ask it to Miss Helwa here. Okay. And I have one more question to you. As you said that the world is diverse, so many people, so many characters, so many races, so many nations, and even though now we have the word of distraction, so a lot of people can connect easily through technology, internet, and the online world. What is your opinion? And could you please share with us how to stay intimate with the God, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a good question. In a world that has so much distraction, I think that remembering that God is with us everywhere. And in the Islamic tradition, there's some beliefs that, that originally the prayer came down in terms of 50 times, and that it was reduced to 5, as a reminder that in every moment we're called to be in a state of prayer. And what that means is that you walk in life with an open heart. And so if you're struggling in your relationship with God, then pull in the qualities of the messengers and the qualities in which God describes himself as. In other words, he describes himself as Al-Wadud, or the loving, or Rahman, the most merciful, or Rauf, the kind, Al-Latif, the gentle, the subtle. And so if you struggle to connect with him, connect with that quality to the extent of your human understanding, aware that it could never encompass what God truly is, and that, but that when we step into being kind and we remind ourselves that it's a reflection of this capital K kindness, or when we step to being generous, that we remind ourselves that that generosity, its origin, it came from a divine current that was sent as a gift to us. And so we can connect with God in a way we serve the Creator and how we serve the creation, and in support and love and gentleness. And so I always tell people, I have this hack, and this life hack is that if you're struggling connecting to something, your connection with God, then go out there and answer the prayer of another person, meaning go take some food to the person who's hungry, or say some kind words to that classmate that you know that people don't always include, or take some extra time to visit an old relative. Make someone's prayer come true. And there's a way in which there's divine countenance or care of you when you're gentle and soft with others. The Creator is gentle and soft with you. Again, existence is this mirror. What you shine upon it reflects back to you. And so when you struggle with your connection with God, don't fight yourself. One of my teachers would always say, don't fight the darkness. Hell will turn on the light. You can, no matter how much you punch the darkness, it won't change. But if you turn on the light, meaning, so if you're struggling with something, turn on the light, bring light in by bringing actions that are kind, words that are kind, thoughts and prayers that are kind. And you'll find yourself connecting with God faster, if he wills, than you could imagine.
Oh, so touching. So, by your answer, we can say that everybody can practice it, not by the religion rituals. So, thank you so much. I will try to translate to Indonesian readers so they can understand more. So please wait a minute.
Sure.
Oke, Gramedia. Jadi tadi saya bertanya ke Miss Helwa mengenai bagaimana caranya kita supaya tetap bisa intimate, menjalin keintiman dengan Sang Pencipta. Meskipun di saat ini kita semua mengalami masa-masa yang penuh distraksi. Dengan mudahnya kita terkoneksi dengan orang-orang bahkan yang tidak ada di sekitar kita, tapi jauh. Karena internet, karena dunia online dengan mudahnya. Bahkan arus informasi ribuan menyerbu kita sehingga kita kebingungan, bahkan kesulitan membedakan informasi yang benar maupun yang salah. Dari jawaban Miss Helwa sangat bagus sekali jawabannya, sangat menyentuh. Beliau menjawab bahwa untuk tetap menjalin keakraban, menjalin keintiman dengan Sang Pencipta, caranya dengan menghargai Sang Pencipta juga ciptaannya, yang mana ciptaannya adalah kita semua, orang-orang di sekitar kita. Jadi dengan tetap menghargai orang-orang di sekitar, menjalin komunikasi, itu juga bagian dari menjalin keintiman dengan Tuhan. Jadi teman-teman Gramet, apabila kalian ada pertanyaan, jangan lupa tuliskan di kolom live chat, karena masih ada kesempatan, kami akan pilih beberapa pertanyaan untuk ditanyakan langsung kepada Miss Helwa. Okay, Miss Helwa, and I will continue one more question. And sometimes understand God's love is hard for some people, and some of them choose not to try. And do you have any suggestion on how to appreciate more the God's gift?
So the way that I understand the question is for some people it's difficult to experience divine love, and what is a way in which they can appreciate or experience it more?
Yes.
That's a great question. So for me, I like using nature and creation as a way of witnessing the beauty of the divine qualities. And what I mean is, the sun is not God. And the sun has this light that represents something beautiful. And we call one name for God as Nur, or the light, the origin of light. And so the sun shows us a symbol of something that's beyond itself, right? And so if I struggle sometimes, I like to step outside, close my eyes, and feel how the sun sees me, how its rays touch, my hands and my face, and I could feel its warmth. And how the sun, when it touches my face, it changes the color of my face, that it actually seeps inside of me, that it interacts with me. When I'm sitting inside with a light bulb, as bright as the light is, that artificial light does not change me. But the sun, it sends something with it. And so as I feel that sun wash all over me, regardless of who I am, what I said, what I've done, where I'm from, I step outside and the sun sees me and everything else in existence that's under the day. And then when the rain comes, it pours on everything that's below it. It makes no distinction. And so these are symbols, very, 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 very minuscule symbols of perhaps what it feels like for God to see you. And so I step out and I feel, oh wow, the sun sees me in the sense that its light is pouring all over me. And then I'm reminded, well, what does it feel like for a God who sees everything outside and sees me from the inside out? And so I allow myself to be present with that and to welcome that feeling, that if creation could witness me like this, imagine what the Creator and how He witnesses me. And I share this one thing, this distinction I offer you. There's a difference between a God who watches over you and a God who's watching you. A lot of times we see God as, for a lot of people, as a reality that is waiting to catch us in error, waiting to punish us, but this God is the one watching over you, taking care of you, making sure that every breath you receive, it comes on time. There's billions of equations happening inside of us for the body to work the way it is, and every step God has in His control. So that we have a God that watches over us. And to feel that, sometimes it helps to be in nature, to imagine yourself as a tree, rooted in the earth, reaching its branches towards the light, that it grows towards the light. Imagine yourself seen by the sun, and just in that experience, reminding yourself that, wow, my God is not like beyond creation, and yet look at how creation witnesses me. Using meditation sometimes in the form of prayer, it helps. And for me, it can always start with a prayer. You begin with, God, I want to feel your love. God, help me see something of your beauty today. God, help me experience the depth of your kindness or your mercy today. And make that prayer, and then just keep your heart open. That's what I would say.
Oh, so touching, awful. No, not awful. Awesome. Sorry. I thought that you will answer with some religious routine like 5-time pray or fasting or something that we must do with our religion. But your answer is very beautiful. So it's simply just by walk outside and enjoying the sun and appreciate little thing. Thank you so much.
And I'll just add this is what the practices, the religious practices are even about. Even when you think about, because a lot of times we do things like in this book, you'll read about the practices and the deeper dimensions. A lot of times we fast, people fast, and I just don't eat from these times. But it's about restricting so that your eyes can open in gratitude of all that you have. In prayer, you stand in one spot like a tree. You are doing these things, but we're not aware of them. You're stepping into light and calling. Prayer is a calling upon light, connection. But we don't realize that because we're so busy. Let me finish. Let's quickly. Right. So sometimes when we connect, when we're able to connect with the earth, with our bodies, actual practices are enriched through that greater witnessing, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please give me some minutes. I will explain in Indonesia to our audience. Oke, Gramets. Jadi menurut Ahelwa, untuk mengapresiasi, menghargai ciptaan Tuhan atau karunia Tuhan, atau bagaimana kita bisa mensyukuri berkah-berkahnya, ternyata menurut Ahelwa dengan cara yang cukup sederhana. Pergi keluar rumah, menikmati matahari yang bersinar hangat, itu juga sudah salah satu caranya kita mensyukuri hidup ini. Bersyukur kepada Tuhan kita. Jadi Gramets, apakah kalian sudah ada pertanyaan yang ingin diajukan ke Ahelwa? Silahkan diketik di kolom live chat. Oke, sebentar. Oke, Miss Helwa, we already have question from our audience.
Sure.
And I will read it to you. Okay, what were you thinking or what inspired you when you wrote this beautiful book?
Thank you. So I was learning and studying a lot of the different facets of Islamic spirituality and the depths of the tradition. At the time I was taking many notes, probably have like 1,000 pages of notes. And in the book, I talk about how there was a moment where I feel like, almost like heard this prayer. It just felt like this prayer. It was like, I'm supposed to answer this prayer for a book on this tradition. And I didn't know, it just felt like a boy or girl somewhere in the world who made a prayer. And I always like, sometimes I sit and I get shivers, like goosebumps, because I do wonder who this person was, because it was such a powerful prayer that it's not that I heard it with audible ears. It's just a feeling, like I felt guided. And I often think, whoever this person was, like that their prayer meant so much to God that he called upon so many people dozens of people between readers and editors and designers, professors, imams, sheikhs, to read the theological corrections, to work on this project for 3 years to answer a prayer. Like, that person, how important are they? I know, because I know my capabilities are limited. And I know that this book is beyond my capability. And I know that all that gap, it's all God, in terms of who can help you bring the right people into your life that are far more knowledgeable. And so I always say that's the power of a prayer. A person may not ever know. I don't know who they are, and they may never know, but they're a major influence on the creation of something like this. So I'll just say someone out there is the reason.
Oh, thank you for the answer. And okay, I will translate into Indonesian first. Oke, jadi teman-teman, mengapa tadi menjadi alasan Ahilwa menulis buku ini? Karena menurut dia membagi pengalaman mengenai indahnya keilahian, Tuhan, Islam, itu adalah hal yang baik. Jadi sangat menginspirasi dan berbagi kepada teman-teman merupakan motivasi terdalamnya. Oke, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Kita akan lanjut ke pertanyaan selanjutnya. Ms. Hewa, we will move to the next question. The next question is from Dewi Bestari, and she is asking how to keep our trust in God when life turns us down.
This is a beautiful question.
Yes.
And with the way that I understand it is when life turns us down, meaning when things don't happen the way that we want, right? And how do we have trust in God in scenarios like that? And so one of the big things to remember is that our purpose for being created, the purpose in which you were created, is that you would know yourself, and through knowing yourself, you would come to know God, and that you would, through knowing Him, come to love Him, and through loving Him, worship Him. So the purpose of and also through the example of the prophet, peace be upon him, that we were sent to this earth as a mercy to this earth and as representatives of the divine upon this earth. That's why when we pray, we say we ask you. Often you see this language because we're praying on behalf of creation a lot of times. And so that being said, when things don't go the way that we want, we have to understand that this realm of existence is a realm of contrast, meaning if it was pure dark, we wouldn't see. And if it was pure light, we wouldn't be able to see or have an experience. So it's this mix of light and dark, of duality, hot and cold, hard and soft, that allows us to have an experience. And so this experience and this creation that you were created within to know yourself, you know yourself through different trials and successes, through blessings, through successes and failures. But this plane of existence is not one where we get everything we want. It's one where we get exactly what we need to become pure and to be able to see who we are. Sometimes God gives us a reality we can't understand with our mind because we don't want that. A grief, a loss, something devastating. But God sees not just the present moment. He sees the future perfectly and the past perfectly. Me, Helwa, I can't see 1 second in the future. I can only see now, and I can only see a past that I only knew half of it, less than half perception of it. So I don't know exactly what's coming from me, but God knows exactly what you need to be the best version of yourself. And sometimes that comes with trauma, and sometimes that comes with immense success. But both are just opportunities for you to get to know Him and His qualities. And you could get the greatest thing in your whole entire life, but if it makes you forget God, it's as if it's the worst trial. And you could have the hardest moment in your life, but if it makes you remember God, it becomes sweet in that bitterness. And so from understanding that from at least the Islamic perspective, the purpose of creation is actually not you reaching towards getting everything you want. It's about you becoming all that you can be. And God doing that through the tests that he sends you. That you can, it's like when you go to the gym and you lift weights, you actually tear your muscle. And through the tear, you become stronger. And sometimes in life, it's through the broken that you actually break open. And a seed has to break open for it to become something beyond its limited shell. So Allah knows how big you're meant to be, but we may only see the shell and think this is the only reality. So part of trusting him is saying, hey, I trust that you took me from a seed and made me human. And every step of the way, you brought me here. And every breath I take, I do not have control over it, but it comes. And these hearts continue to beat. So as long as I have a pulse, I have a purpose. And so I know that you've done all this right so far. So if this doesn't go the way I want, can I learn what you're trying to show me in this? It's not what I wanted, but perhaps it's what I need. And that's where giving enough trust to say, hey, he brought me this far. He brought me too far to leave me to myself now.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And I will translate it first, so please wait a minute. Jadi teman-teman Gramets, terutama Dewi Bestari yang sudah bertanya, pasti sudah mendengar sendiri dari Ahilwa, semoga terinspirasi. Untuk teman-teman mungkin saya akan jelaskan sedikit dalam bahasa Indonesia. Jadi gimana caranya saat kita sedang sedih, kecewa, atau merasa feeling down ya, tapi tetap berusaha untuk mempercayai keberadaan Tuhan, keilahiannya. Caranya menurut Ahilwa sangat sederhana karena dengan kita menjalankan aktivitas agama kita dengan berdoa, dengan sholat, itu juga cara kita bangkit dari kekecewaan, kesedihan, karena Tuhan Maha tahu. Menurut Ahilwa, Tuhan tahu segalanya. Jadi jangan hilangkan kepercayaan kalian, tetaplah yakin bahwa Tuhan ada selalu untuk kita. Oke, sebelum saya bertanya ke pertanyaan terakhir untuk Ahilwa, saya ucapkan sekali lagi untuk Gramedia, selamat ulang tahun. Selamat ulang tahun ke-52, and maybe I will ask Miss Helwa to congratulate Gramedia for its 52 anniversary. Can you please?
Yes, of course. Congratulations, Gramedia, on your 52nd anniversary. You guys are amazing, and the work that you do is fantastic. And I'm so grateful to be a part of the Gramedia family.
Thank you so much. So I have one last question. Actually, it's about your next project. If you don't mind, could you please reveal some information about your next project?
Of course. I'm working on a book of poetry and another book of spoken word and stories. And they're both related to faith and spirituality. So inshallah, at some point this year, readers can find those books coming out.
Okay, we are expecting it in not so long time, so we will wait for it, and please keep writing, and we are here to wait for your next project. And Ms. Helwa, we will have launching ceremony, book launch ceremony. So I would like to invite Jarwati as the editor and the representative from publishing house, Quanta. So, Jarwati, can you please welcome to the stage? Okay.
Assalamualaikum Kak Helwa.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you for joining with us. Terima kasih juga kepada teman-teman yang sudah bergabung menyaksikan kami live hari ini dari Jakarta dan juga California. Hari ini kita akan launching bukunya Kak Helwa yang berjudul Secrets of Divine Love yang sudah kami terjemahkan juga dalam bahasa Indonesia yang terbit di bulan Januari kemarin. Teman-teman juga terima kasih juga yang sudah pre-order ya. Luar biasa sekali antusiasnya teman-teman kami Kak Helwa. Kemudian untuk selanjutnya mungkin nanti kita akan launching juga di bulan Maret insya Allah Secret of Divine Love Journal begitu. Oke.
Okay, we will start the short ceremony. I will give this giant book to Jarwati. Okay, thank you so much, Jarwati. Also, thank you, Miss Helwa, for writing this beautiful book. And no, wait. Please
I want to
stay.
also say a special thank you to Jarwati because she's amazing. And in California, we call her a legend, someone that's very impressive and amazing. So I'm grateful for you.
Yes, thank you so much juga Kak Helwa. Sudah berbagi inspirasi kepada kami semua dan juga teman-teman khususnya yang berada di Indonesia.
Jarwati said thank you so much for your project, your books that inspire a lot of readers in Indonesia. We are waiting for your next project, your book, also your journal in March. Is it correct, Jarwati? Okay.
Yeah. That's right. I thought you meant future projects. That the journal is coming out next, and I know that so many Indonesian fans have been waiting. So Jarwati is right here is the person that you should be grateful to because she's one of the reasons it's going to come out soon, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jarwati. You may come down to the stage. Okay. Ms. Helwa, we are coming to the end of the session. So I would like to ask you a closing statement. Please give us some closing statement to our audience in their homes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. And as we're here today together, I just want to make a prayer that you're reminded how important you are, that you are reminded that you're worthy of being loved, that you're lovable, that there doesn't need to be a future where you do everything right before God loves you, that he loves you as you are because he created you as you are. He knows exactly what you need and he knows exactly who you are and he loves that person. And my prayer is that you could learn to love yourself as much as you're worthy of that love. And I pray that for all the secret tears and the pains that you carry, that you know that your Lord watches over you and is with you wherever you are. In every single atom, he's with you. And in the furthest places, he is with you. And that you know that you're never left alone. And I pray that everything in creation reminds you of the divine, and that every moment turns you back to the inner depths of yourself so that you may see just how wonderful of a universe that you are. And I pray that this book, if you choose to get it, that it serves you and that it deepens your relationship with yourself, with God, and with the world around you to walk with kindness and gentleness, with sincerity, mercy, and generosity. Amen.
Thank you so much. So we are in the end of the session. I would like to thank you all the audience. Terima kasih banyak Gramet sudah join diskusi kita siang ini dalam acara virtual festival, online virtual festival Gramedia Kolaborasi Tanpa Batas. Thank you so much, Miss Helwa, for joining us today. Such an inspiring thought and talks. We hope to see you again in the next session, maybe in your next project. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Terima kasih, Gramets. Jangan lupa untuk join sesi-sesi kita berikutnya dalam rangka ulang tahun Gramedia, kolaborasi tanpa batas 52 anniversary.